Good evening, everyone. So last week we completed this friction lesson until this factors affecting the frictional limiting frictional force. So basically there are two factors. One is the nature of the surface, we discussed this, and the other one normal reaction. Nature of the surface we discuss, and then the normal reaction. I told you when the sandpapers, when the roughness of the sandpaper increase, when the roughness of sandpaper increase, what happens? The Newton balance, the reading goes up. That means limiting so the reading of the Newton balance increase means limiting frictional force increase. That means you have to make more effort to move this. That means when it's just about to move, or when it's about to move, when it just begins to move, the reading will increase with the increase of the roughness. That means limiting frictional force. What is the conclusion of this? So I'm just summarizing what we have done last week. This is very important. Limiting frictional force increases with the roughness of the surface. So how can you increase the roughness? Because the same block of wood, but you can get from the hardware shops roughness, the sandpapers with different roughness. So 100, 120, 150, there's a number code. So with that number, the roughness will change. So you can paste this to the surface in contact with the block of wood. That face you can attach the sandpaper and pull the block of wood through the Newton balance and record the reading of the balance when it's just about to move. So that's what I just summarized what we had done last week, and then I told the second factor that affect the limiting frictional force will be. So this is very important, that is normal reaction. Normal reaction means when the weight increases. So imagine here 2 kilogram, then is 20 Newton. So this is total 4 kilogram. 2 plus 2, 4 kilogram is 40 Newton. Then the reaction also will be 40. So when the mass increase, weight increase, weight of the object. When the weight increase, the reaction increase. Then with the increase of the reaction, the reading of the Newton balance, when it's just about to move, the reading of the balance when it's just about to move, you can record. So in the first one, you get lower reading. So here the reading will be low. Here the reading of the balance will be high. So what is the conclusion? With the increase of the perpendicular reaction, limiting frictional force increases. So R is normal reaction. Normal reaction depends on the weight acting downwards, and the weight depends on the mass of the object. Therefore, with the increase of the weight, one of the best example, when a truck or lorry is stuck in mud, so the driver is raising the engine to the higher speed, but the truck is not moving forward, even though the wheels are moving at the same place without moving the vehicle forward. So wheels are rotating at the same place in mud, or maybe one rear wheel, even though the driver make the maximum engine or the effort from the engine or the highest gear. So how to overcome this problem? Using this method, you can load. So then what happened? The people in that area, or maybe around, maybe the villagers or whatever, so in that area they will also enjoy this like a movie. What's happened in this vehicle? So then if the driver requests all the audience or whatever who were around this vehicle watching this, so he can ask them to get into the vehicle. Then the vehicle is loaded with these people. Then the mass of the vehicle and the weight of the people increase, and then perpendicular reaction increase. Then the friction increases, and you can get the vehicle out of mud, right? So that is one application here. Then next one, number 7. So therefore, what is the conclusion here? Limiting frictional force increases with the increase of the perpendicular reaction. If you write separately, perpendicular reaction depends on the perpendicular reaction, or sometimes we call it normal reaction. You can write either one, perpendicular reaction, or you can write within bracket normal reaction. Normal reaction. Right. So if you want, you can write here normal reaction or the perpendicular reaction depends on the weight, and weight depends on the mass of the object. So basically when the weight increase, perpendicular reaction increase, then the friction increase. That means heavy object experience high friction. Okay. Then next one. Right, number 7. That's what we had to start today. I just summarized because these two very important. In your textbook also they have given these similar diagrams to test the factors affecting the limiting frictional force. So at which instance you take the reading here? When the log of wood or the block of wood is about to move. When it begins to move, you have to record the reading of the balance. Next one, number 7. Number 7, frictional force. So what can you any volunteers who can tell me which factor, the effect of which factor is tested here? You can see the same block of wood. Yeah? Same block of wood, if you take here say 1 kilogram, this also all three the same block of wood. In all three figures, same block of wood but different surfaces in contact with. In all three, if you want to write that, you can put a stand, right? In all three figures, the same block of wood means same weight. In all three figures, same block of wood is used. Same block of wood. Same block of wood is used. Right? That means the same weight, the same mass or the same weight. So in this, I'll write same weight. That means what? Perpendicular reaction will be, therefore the normal reaction does not affect. Therefore normal reaction or the perpendicular reaction does not affect here, because same weight. All three figures, the same block of wood means same weight. Same weight means normal reaction or the perpendicular reaction does not affect here, because the same perpendicular reaction. R. Perpendicular reaction does not affect. Please write that, because these are the questions they could ask in the exam. Perpendicular reaction does not affect the friction. And the same surface, same roughness. So all three use the same roughness of sandpapers. So in all three figures, that means the other two conditions same roughness of the surface. Please mark that with a pencil. Same roughness, same weight. What is the difference among these three diagrams? What is the difference? The surface area, same weight means same normal reaction or the perpendicular reaction, and here the same roughness. That means those two factors will not affect the friction in all three figures, or in all three. The same block of wood you are turning to that side and this side. That means different surface area, but the contact area changes. But contact area changes from figure 1 to figure 3. Contact, you can write the on dotted line. How to do this? First you can sandpapers on the surface with the highest surface area. You can paste the sandpapers on the surface with the highest surface area in contact with the table. And when the block of wood is just enough to move, you have to apply a force. You have to find the force required when you have to find the force when the block of wood is just enough to move. That is called limited frictional force, right? So we'll write the steps here. So we write the first one. Paste the sandpaper to paste the sandpaper on the surface with the largest area. The largest surface area. So that is which one? In which one the largest surface area contact with the table? That is figure 7.1. If you write within bracket figure 7.1, the largest surface area contact with the table. Place the sandpaper on the largest surface area in contact with the table. In contact with the table. Then you have to, what is the second step? Step 2. You have to find the force when is just enough to move. Find the force, that means what? Reading of the Newton balance. Find the force means reading of the Newton balance. Find the force, that, or else you can write within bracket reading of the Newton balance. You are pulling this. When it's just about to move, you find the reading of the balance. Find the force means reading of balance. Or you can write, or else you can write limiting frictional force. That is the limiting frictional force. Find the force. I'll close bracket. Reading of the balance when the block of wood is just about to move. When the block of wood is just about to move, or just begins to move, or just begins to move. That is called what force? And this is called limiting frictional force. Limiting frictional force. Okay, latecomers, I'll repeat again. What is the aim of this experiment? Testing whether the frictional force effect on the, I think there's no blank here actually. Frictional force, yeah, you had right here actually the frictional force, it does not depend on the, so here if you get reading 10 Newton, so this is also the same reading 10 Newton. So this is also the same reading 10 Newton. Same block of wood. So imagine if the block of wood 10 kilogram or say 1 kilo. So this is also 1 kilogram. Same weight. Here also 1 kilogram. Here also 1 kilogram. Same block of wood you turn into different surface. Facing the different surface area. Facing different surface area or contact area you change. Area of the contact surface you change. Turning this to different sides. So first you do with the A, and then you can see you get the same reading. When you turn this to the other side and pull it, when it's just about to move, you get the same reading. And again you turn it to the other side, and if you only can keep this way also, they have not given that in the this one. So if you only can keep it here even and pull it, you can pull it and you can record the reading of the balance when is about to move. When is about to move, you find the reading of the balance. So the contact area changes with the figure, but the reading of the balance same. That means that limiting frictional force does not depend on the area of the contact surface. This is very, very important. This is most of the students, they think the one with the first diagram has the highest, more friction than the other two. Actually, the first one and the other two, all three will get the same limiting frictional force. It's very, very important. So you have to complete the blank. You write actually this is make it limited frictional force, not just frictional force. Make it limiting frictional force does not depend on the contact area. Limiting frictional force does not depend on the contact area. Limiting frictional force. Frictional force. I have given just write limiting in front of that. Limit right here. Depends on the surface area. Does not depend. So right here does not depend. Does not depend on the contact area. Please complete the blank. Does not depend on the area of the contact surface. Does not depend on the area of the contact surface. This is very important. How did we experimentally prove this? Same block of wood, same roughness. So same roughness, that means the other factors common to all three. So roughness common to all three, and weight also same, because same block of wood. These points are very important. Except the surface area, all the factors affecting the frictional force here same in all three. Anyone still copy now? Please raise the hand, or else shall I erase this? Anyone still writing? Okay, please raise the hand. Also, still copying down. And when you are done, please lower your hand. When you are done, please lower your hand. If you have any doubts, you can ask and raise the hand. Right, okay. Then, so you don't memorize this. In the exam, if you get a question, you should know. So they could ask the effect of which factor on the friction is tested here. They can give this diagram. They don't mention anything, so they can just give the diagram and ask what is the aim of this experiment, or else they can ask the effect of which factor on friction is tested here. That is surface area, but surface area does not depend. Therefore, some is one thing, keeping the cupboard vertical is better. It's easy to pull than the other side. So that's actually, it's a myth, right? So either you keep the cupboard that side or this side. If the same weight, if the cupboard has the same weight, you have to make the same effort. You have to, that is like, this is the most simplest way I can tell it. Either you turn the cupboard to the whatever the side in contact with the floor. If it is the same cupboard with the same roughness and with the same weight, same roughness, same weight, the force required will be same when it just begins to move. The reading of the balance will be same. So you can use the Newton balance to find exactly the reading. You can prove it quantitatively, not only qualitatively. You can show it quantitatively. Okay, I'll erase this now. Then next one, you can write here. So you can repeat number 3. Right? Repeat the experiment with different contact area. Right? Repeat the experiment with different contact area. Repeat the experiment with different contact area. Okay, I'll erase this, right? Repeat the experiment with different contact area. So we can write the third point. Repeat the procedure. Repeat the step. Placing different surface area of block in contact with the table. Repeat the first step. By placing different surfaces of the block in contact with the table. By placing different surfaces of the block. Different surfaces of the block of wood, or just write block in contact with table. So what is the observation here? Okay, you can write the observation here. In all three instances, limiting frictional force will be the same. For all the surfaces, reading of the balance will be same. For all three surfaces, for all the surfaces, comma, reading of the balance, that means limiting frictional force will be same. Right here, for all the surfaces, what is the right observation at the bottom? So the conclusion I have given at the top. What is the observation? For all three surfaces, for all the surfaces, comma, reading of the balance will be same. Reading of the balance means what? Limiting frictional force. Reading of balance means what? Limiting frictional force is same. Is the same. So this is very important. Reading now the limit for all the surface. All the surfaces means like not with different nature, not with different roughness, huh? Different places, different surfaces, but same roughness. Different surfaces means with this with different surface area. So this is very important to understand. Different surfaces means having different surface area. So different contact area. Contact area different, but same roughness. Same roughness. Contact area different, but same roughness. Same type of sandpaper we use. Same type of sandpaper. Same type of sandpaper we use. You have to fix that to the table. You can use nails. You can fix some nails and fix to the table. Horizontal table. You can have some nails and fix it to the table. The sandpaper. You can take one large sandpaper and cut into pieces. Then same roughness. Same roughness. So this is how, remember in your textbook there are activities or the practicals. This is also an activity given in your textbook. Activities are dangerous because they can ask these activities or the practical based questions or the experiments under oral paper structured essay compulsory questions. Or that means structured essay you get nearly 25 to 30% from the practicals. This is also a simple activity or a practical. Actually you are supposed to do this in the school lab. You need only sandpaper or the same roughness or any surface, or you can use if you don't have sandpapers you can use a A4 sheet. And this, from the same bundle you take 3 A4 sheets and put on the flat, but you have to make sure that surface of the table is smooth, because otherwise if there are various barriers like nails or something, if it is not uniform, the table surface of the table, if it is not uniform, that also a problem, right? So those are the issues in the practical. You have to be careful. Right. So then I will erase. So basically what conditions, if you write separately here, what conditions should be kept constant in here? Weight should be constant, and the nature of the surface, roughness of the surface should be constant. Can you please write that? Conditions are separated right at the bottom. I don't have space, therefore I'll write here. Conditions that must be kept constant in this practical. Conditions kept constant in the practical. Conditions that must be kept constant. Conditions kept constant will be what? One condition, roughness. Roughness same in all three. Same roughness, same sandpaper, similar type sandpapers. Then the roughness should be same, and the other one, weight or the mass of the object should be equal in all three. So what is the only change difference? Contact area. Contact area. So these two factors will change the friction, limited frictional force. If you increase the roughness, limited frictional force increase. If you increase the weight or the mass, then also limited frictional force will increase. Right? Then I'll erase the screen. Anyone will copy now this? Please, if you don't have space, so please note down. Everyone should maintain separate CR book for the physics short notes. I am telling a lot of other information, so you can note down them separately, or if you want, you can again request the recording leisurely. You can note down them, right? So if some students it takes more time to write, so slowly, then it depends on your writing speed. So but anyway, you don't need to miss anything. You can request the recording, and you can request you join the class, and you want to watch it again, that's all right. But you have to make the request with the same, with your main name code. Right? Now coming Sunday, sorry, not Saturday, Saturday, for 7th of May, this Saturday I am going to start the paper class at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. So even theory class, I feel like 7 to 9 is feel better for some students. But anyway, I'll keep for the time, so it's 6 to 8 now, and later when the exam is closed, so let's see whether it's make it. I'll get the feedback from everyone and decide that. But anyway, the paper class fixed until your oral exam. The next year also the paper class time no change, Saturday 7 to 9. 7 to 9 p.m. and if you want to join this Saturday paper class, you can have to make a request. You have to make only just additional 500 payment for the whole month. Those are coming current online students need to pay only 500 per month and can join all 4 classes or 5 classes per month paper class until your exam. And the outsiders, they have to make a request separately. And please try to join because it's very important answering questions of the papers, provincial papers, model papers, support center papers, Western Province papers, right? So you have to practice under each lesson. So this Saturday I'm going to discuss Western Province 2019 and 18, the first term test paper, because you have not got the term test. So remember, after this lesson only one more lesson for the first term. First term you are getting only the first 6 lessons. So I'm going to revise unit wise revision as well from some is not joined late for this. Therefore I'll be doing unit wise revision from grade 10 unit 1 to unit 6 again through the in the physical class. So I'm sorry, what is this called? Paper class. So that's what we are planning to do in the paper class, but there's a separate group and the papers and everything will be sent to that group, not to the theory group. Right? Okay. Then I'll erase this. You had enough time to copy down. Next one. Yeah, so this is like just theory. Advantages of friction. No need to write. So some friction you can't tell always advantage also wrong, always disadvantage or also wrong. It depends on the situation. You can write advantages of friction. If friction is advantageous, we can increase it. Look at here. If friction is advantageous, in any instance where the friction is an advantage, we can increase it. We get the benefit. Ne? So what are those instances and what are the advantages of friction? How to increase it? So one is you can walk on the floor without slipping due to the friction between the feet and the floor. So that's why even so wet floor you have to be cautious. Why? Wet floor, low friction. Wet floor, low friction. That's why have you all seen even the I have given some diagrams here. Boots of the football players, cricket players. Their boots, so there's a spike like outer growth some parts, so that is to prevent them from slipping when they are running, right? Maybe the mist or the whatever the raindrops or whatever, so the mist can deposit on the grasses, so they can easily slip when while they are running. So to avoid that, then they have increased the roughness of those leather or rubber or the football or the cricket cricketers the shoes or the boots. That is to increase the roughness. Even if you take your slippers or the sole of your shoes or the slippers, see here, sole of, if you only write label here, so this is having treads on the sole of the shoes and the slippers, various patterns. So the treads, we call it treads, cut or like various patterns. When they are worn out, we have to having grooves on the surface of the sole of shoes. You can write all three, like having grooves on the surface of the tires and the slippers, outer surface. If you want, can put a curly bracket, or you can write double-headed arrow. I have given that, no need to write it, sorry. It's there. Having grooves on the surface of tires, soles of shoes and slippers. So that is the first three. So that is to increase friction. So then this one you will be having more friction. That's why when you have to reduce the speed of the vehicle in the highway if the tires of your vehicle worn out. Then this one, various lines on the palm. So various lines on your palm also can increase the friction. So various lines on your palm can increase the frictional force. Those lines will never get erased even if you take a fingerprint. So having lines on the palm, that increase the friction. Otherwise you will slip. You cannot have a better grip when you are riding a bicycle or motorcycle or steering wheel. You can hold tight because of this. Otherwise very difficult. You can't pull something. Having lines on the palm. So that is to increase the friction. And you see this one, what is this called? Climbing coconut trees using coir rope circle. Right? What is climbing trees using coir rope circle? This is called pol valal sometime. In Sinhala we call it pol valal. because it's like, not like our season listener right, sliding pole. This is to right here, climbing coconut trees using climbing trees, or especially coconut trees. This is a monocotne. Climbing coconut trees using coir rope circle. Coconut trees using coir rope circle. Okay, so that increase the frictional force. Right. Then next one. So on highlight or underline here, coir rope circle. Coir rope circle helps to reduce the friction. So therefore, that's what I have given here. Vehicles by applying brakes or disc brake. Now this also you can see here. Highlight this. Method of advance. So ability of bringing vehicles to the rest. Moving vehicle to rest. How? By applying brakes. That is, then friction is advantage. Without friction, the vehicle will slip or go out of the road. Ability to walk on the road due to the friction. Ability of climbing trees using B is missing here, by using coir rope circle, that is due to the friction. Without friction you can't do any of this, because when you apply brake the vehicle will not stop, it will go out of the road. So ability of stopping the vehicle by applying brakes is due to the friction. If you apply brakes on a rainy day, sometimes a brake might not work because the vehicle will slip and might go out of the road and will face accidents. So therefore, if you apply some grease or oil and dry the vehicle on that surface, you can imagine even if you apply brakes, you can't stop the vehicle, it will go out of the road and can cause accidents. Therefore, the friction is advantageous in these cases. You can hold an object and pull it because of friction. Even whatever you have, the pen or pencil, now you can check in your hand the place that you hold the pen. Or if you only can check the lid of a bottle, these are the additional information I can give, which these are not given in your textbook. Okay, these are not given in your textbook. If you take the lid of the bottle, you can see this. The lid of the bottle, you can see this is rough. There are various lines here, like these patterns here. Then it's easy to open and close because having a better grip. Or if you take the bicycle handle, the handle of the tool, so this handle rough, that is to increase the friction. Even if you take the steering wheel, the rough surface is used for the steering wheel, the place that you hold, otherwise it will slip when you are turning the vehicle. So these examples you can copy down. Having rough surface on the steering wheel, having the handle of the bicycle rough, and the lid of the bottle having various patterns to screw type the lid. Not only that, if you take even your pencil and the pen, you can see the pen or the pencil, the place that you hold here, like you can check even now. Some of them, this one having a rubber part here, rubber part, or various patterns here. That is also to increase the friction. Whatever you can use, the pen that you are using now, the pencil, you can observe that. So there are some patterns here, this area, not throughout the surface, or in this one, because that is the place where you hold it. Even the lid also same thing, lid of the pen also same thing. Lid of the pen also same. There are various patterns here. That is to increase friction. There are many applications of this. So if friction is advantageous, we have to increase it. If friction is disadvantageous, we have to reduce it. Whenever friction is advantageous, we have to increase. Whenever friction is disadvantageous, we have to reduce it. If you only write that, use that using your own words. Copy down this additional example also. The steering wheel rough surface, bicycle handle rough surface. If you take the tools of the handle of the various tools, maybe hammer, or maybe any other tool, the handle, the place that you hold it, so it's having a rough surface. Now this is the most interesting part. When you are wearing slippers, so when you are wearing shoes, so they are worn out, the bicycle tire worn out with time, and you have to replace it. It's slip more. But your palm, you wash your hands, you touch various things from morning till evening from your palm. but the lines of the palm won't get erased like the vehicle tires or the soles of the slippers or shoes. So because they are non-living, but your palm the living cells, so that the replace or the worn out part replaced by the new cells. Therefore, if you take the fingerprint, won't change with your age. The fingerprint, the people those who cannot put the signature, they use the fingerprint mark, thumb. So that fingerprint is identical. It's unique for each one. So it won't change with the person. I mean, it will change with the person. So that is used to for the identity of a person, the fingerprint. Not the DNA fingerprint, not the DNA fingerprint, just the fingerprint. So you can't find two persons having the same patterns of the thumb or the whatever the fingerprint, right? So it's unique. So that is used for the identity of the person. So always try to remember this with the applications. I give many applications, right? Method of increasing the friction. I will give one more example. Somewhere, I don't know how many of you have seen in weightlifting, in Olympics, when lifting the weight, like, what are they doing? Like, they put even fast bowlers, they put a belt, those who are the fast bowlers, they put like a band or something here in their, hand. Have you all seen? Please raise the hand, those who have seen the fast bowler, they put a band here, like a band on the whatever the left arm or right arm bowlers, they put a band just above their wrist. Just above their wrist, they use a band. What is the benefit of this band? What is the benefit of this band? To prevent sweat draining to the palm. Otherwise, the ball will slip and it will be a wide. So these the applications of friction here. So they put here. Look at this. If you only can mark these things, because in the exam you will not get the same set of diagram given in the textbook. The examples. You can see they put a the fast bowlers. So mostly fast bowlers. They put a band here, like whatever. So this band prevent sweat or the so it's when it's wetty. This one the palm. So you cannot hold firmly the leather ball. And one more thing. Have you all seen now? Who can tell me the weightlifting? What are they doing? Weightlifting. Right now, yeah. Who can tell me what are they doing before lifting the weight? Or in Olympics, what are they doing with the palm? Like you do, what do they do? Because it's sweaty, because they are spending a lot of energy. So then what happened? A lot of sweat on the surface of their body. So other than this, having a band on the just above the wrist, or what else? Yes, Muhammad, what do you think?
Sir, they cover their hands with some kind of powder, sir, white color.
Yeah, very good, Muhammad. Yeah, very good, excellent. They are chalking their hands, right? They are please write here, before lifting weight, in weightlifting, before they lift the weight, chalk in their hands. White color, white powder they chalk, right? Chalk in the hands. Chalk in the hands. And before lifting weight, they chalk their hands. That is also to increase the friction. Otherwise, it will lift and it will come on their chest and it can cause severe accidents. Heavyweight. Right. So these are sometimes, have you all seen vehicle? These things are not given in a textbook, but they can give this in the exam. Now, in vehicle dashboard, when you keep whatever, so it's like a magnetic property also. There are some of these, even the dust and all. A vehicle dashboard, they put a rough mat or something to keep your phone. It won't slip, right? Mat. So that has some of these surfaces, nano surfaces. Have you all seen this gecko? They have the nano surface. So that's why the gecko can climb on the surface of the wall and they will not fall down. So like that, I am asking you to explore like this and see whether due to the changing of the special property of the surface or due to the friction. But if you take opposite of this, right? Opposite of this, the reducing friction. Right? What are the methods of increasing friction? Right here, there are two methods. What are the two methods? Making the surface rough. Second one, by increasing the weight or the perpendicular reaction. I told you when the vehicle is stuck in mud, The wheels are rotating in the same place even though the driver raised the engine to the higher speed. Why? Between mud and the tires, so low friction. Low friction is slippery. So then what? One method, you can put some stones, so like, you know, the rocks or the plank of wooden plank or something under the tire, right? And then you can increase the friction, or else you can increase the weight. So the second method, by increase the weight of the vehicle. How to increase the weight? So like you know, like a movie, the people enjoying this, no, around in that area. If you're going out of Colombo or trip or something, safari, so whatever, now vehicles get stuck, the rear wheel stuck in mud. Now maybe whoever drive the vehicle, driver is racing the engine to get the vehicle out of mud, but the rear wheel is rotating at the same place without moving the vehicle forward. So what is done? Now you have to increase the friction between the tires and the surface of the tires and the whatever the ground. So these are the, so I'm asking many applications, physics, like nothing to memorize. Actually, you should get the concept, right? Not like in biology. Okay, so that's how I gave many examples for method of increasing the friction and how to increase. So what are the two methods of increasing friction? Making the surface rough, and the other one by increasing the weight. So if you can't increase the weight, the best thing is to increase the surface roughness of the surface. And next one, disadvantages of friction. In some cases, the friction is a disadvantage. If friction is a disadvantage, we have to reduce it. If it is not an advantage, we have to overcome that. So disadvantages and method of reduction. So that's why I have given both these together. So one disadvantage of friction, you can see decreasing the efficiency of engines and machines. Why? Because of the energy loss. Due to energy loss. I'll give one of the best example. Right. One of the best example, you can see vehicle engine. Who can tell me, to reduce friction, what is added to the engine of a vehicle, diesel engine or petrol? Other than petrol, diesel, during the vehicle service, when you are servicing the vehicle or in the vehicle service station, they replace this thing, or they check whether its level is okay, or if it is like maybe 6-7 months over, then they will replace that. Right? What is that? Anyone can tell me? Yes, any volunteers? Vehicle servicing. So how do they reduce the friction between the parts of the engine, and for the smooth running of the engine or the piston? What is done? What is added to reduce the friction? Yes, who can tell me?
The engine oil, sir.
Anyone else? So I think you have heard this, right? Even if you have a more foot cycle also, you are doing the same thing. Motorcycle or foot cycle. Have you all seen the cogwheel set? The chain moves on the cogwheel set, right? So when it is moving now, you have the chain here, this chain. So what is added here? You apply something, right? What is added? Why it is added? To reduce the friction. Otherwise what happens? This cogwheel set and the chain you have to replace in the bicycle. So that is, you add oil or grease. Even in your gate, or even a vehicle, the door of the vehicle, if it is very rough, very hard to close and open, so you have to lubricate the hinges, or even your vehicle gate. The gate of your house, or the doors and the windows of your house. Otherwise what happens? They get corroded and then they are worn out, and you have to replace them if you don't lubricate them. Even a fan or the motor, they put lubricants. Lubricating oils. What is that? That's what I have given here. Can you see number 1, lubricating oil highlight now? So I told in which instance lubricating oil is used. So some of you use grease. GRWS, grease. Right, grease. So these are the methods of applying lubricants. So lubricants, there are two types of lubricants. Solid lubricant also there, liquid lubricants also there. Lubricators. Solid lubricant will be graphite. So if you want, you can put an arrow towards graphite, right? A solid lubricant. Graphite is a solid lubricant. Door locks, they use this solid lubricant. Otherwise, it's like oil drains to your, the flow and the hand contact. No, this is a problem. Solid lubricant. Graphite has slippery nature. I think you will learn that on the chapter 10 later, chemistry. Solid lubricant. And these ones are liquid lubricant. So the door locks and the motors, they use this solid lubricant, graphite. So lubricant in oil for the vehicle engine. Vehicle engine. Or you can write bicycle or the motorcycle cogwheel. Bicycle cogwheel set. Cogwheel set they use. So between the cogwheel set and the chain. Don't limit only to the textbook. They can give many applications in the oral paper. That's how you get the questions in the oral paper related to the applications and day-to-day life. Vehicle engine we use lubricant in oil. So bicycle cogwheel set and the chain. Even motorcycle they use. Or you can write hinges of the doors and the gate. Hinges, H-I-N-G, hinges of, what is this in single? Saraneru or something, Saraneru. The part of that's a brass material, brass. Pittala, Saraneru. It is in single vehicle like that. Hinges. That is used to fix the door. So those hinges also the metal parts. So then the other problem is this. Have you seen motorcycle? This is covered. There's a case in here to cover. Otherwise, what happens when you put oil? Dust particles, sand particles will deposit on oil. Then it's get what is it called? It's worn out due to the sand and the dust particle. It can cause more damage. Therefore, you have to protect that from the dust and sand particles. That's why they put a cover casing also for this. In motorcycle, mostly it's there. Bicycles, I have not seen. I think most probably motorcycle is there. Even if you take this, if you are going to the gym, you get the treadmill also they use lubricants. Even if you take the C-wind machine, Mahana machine, I don't know how these days you are observing these things. There's a wheel, right, moving part in the C-wind machine, Mahana machine, Singer or whatever. So these many applications. Even the wheelchair, the wheel, there are lubricants in those wheels. Or in the racer, there are lubricants. Even in vehicle, many parts. So there are many applications where you reduce the friction using these things. In many instances, right? Then next one, the other one is they are worn out. That is also a disadvantage. Decrease in the efficiency because due to the friction, they are worn out. You have to replace them soon. I will give one of the best example. In your house, you observe the surface of the tile. Some places the tile surface is like it's like faded away, and some places the tile is like looks very new. So why? Because even in you can check in the entrance of the bank, the doorstep of your house, the tiles or whatever, the cement or the ceramic or whatever, the floor due to the friction it's worn out, it's so faded away. So that's a disadvantage. And even when you are selecting tiles for your house, you have to go for the different roughness. So that they are actually friction is an advantage. So I'll give one example. For the bathroom and verandas, we had to use matte tiles, so with different roughness, higher roughness. For the living room and so we put the low roughness, so more smooth, more shiny. Right? So therefore, these are many applications, but all what I am telling not given in the textbook, but you can get questions, MCQs from these areas. You can't tell out of syllabus. That is the role of the teacher. So to do more examples, more applications related to the concept that you learn. Because what you memorize in the textbook, the same thing they will not repeat as it is. That's the last few years. O-level science paper was the hardest out of the main subjects, and the lowest pass rate also the science actually. Max was better than that. They are changing the way they ask the questions now. The structure of the question they have changed. Even if you memorize the entire textbook 100%, you will not be able to get it if you don't explore like this, right? Okay, so I gave lubricant, I gave a lot of things, no? Then roughness of this contact surface, polish in them. You polish this, right? Polish. You put various and then polish it. That is actually for attractiveness. One of the best example, carom board. Plain carom, the carom board also you have to polish it. Carom board you have to polish, and plus when you play, before you play the carom, you put talc. Carom board, you can write in front of this carom board. Plain carom, where do we reduce the friction? Carom board, we have to reduce friction because that we can't change. But when you buy the carom board, the manufacturer has to reduce the friction, making the surface of the carom board smooth. Smooth surface, you can write here, smooth surface of the carom board. That is one application. Smooth surface of carom board. And the other one, you put talc, no? Talco powder to reduce the friction. Then it's easy to play, right? Yeah, we reduce friction. Friction is a disadvantage plain carom. Right? So low friction means it slip easily. Slipping is much easier with low friction. Slipping is difficult. I'll give one more example. Have you all seen the children's park? Children's park. What is this called? What is this? Please write down, note down all this, huh? Because you can get this in the exam. What is this called? Children's park. What is low friction is used for the children to play? What is this called? Who can tell me? What is this called? Children's park. They use low friction here. Low friction. This children's park. Then they use this. They climb from this side and then move in. What is this called? Yes, bathing. What is this called?
So the mat slide.
Yeah, it's yeah. Who else? Any other term that we use for this? Yeah, Ashini, Mohammed.
Sir, slides.
Sliding, no? Sliding boat, I think, no? Sliding, slide. No, I don't know whether it's slide. Anyway, you know what it is, no? You have seen the sliding boat or whatever. There they use low friction, smooth. Maybe they use fiberglass. So various materials they use, but they have to polish it. Polish it. Not only to make it shiny and attractive, reducing the friction. There are many games. What is the last one? Can you all see here in these figures? There also we use low friction in this game. Can write near this diagram also. You can write here plain carom. We use low friction. Plain carom we reduce friction. Plain carom. You can write here one method by putting talc or smooth surface of the board. Smooth surface plus you can further reduce friction by putting talc. And the other one, who can tell me this last one? They also, this game also we need low friction. Who can tell me the last figure? I don't know this clear. Yes, any volunteers? What is this last one? They also use low friction. Yes. Sashin, what is it?
Ice skating.
Very good. Yes, that is ice skating. Can I write it on the last? So they have used low friction. So we reduce the friction there. Actually, so we don't need to reduce. It's already like this now ice skating. Okay. Then this is also very important. Please highlight here roller bearing and ball bearing. Roller bearing and ball bearing. Ball bearing. I don't know this clear. If you want to write it again, if it is not clear, this is called ball bearing. BEARING. This is roller bearing. Roller bearing. So what is done here? They have used some balls here. You know, it can nicely roll. This wheel can roll. This wheel can rotate. Can rotate on the ball. Can rotate freely. So the axle is not moving. That is the axle. So these balls are there. So then you can the wheel can move on this. This is called roller bearing. Right? So widely used in this racer. So even vehicle, there's an axle here. Around that there are like these kind of structures. Okay. Then next one. Hima Matalisayamo, Ice Matalisayamo, that is a game, no ice skating, no, you can write that. If you want, you can search in the internet the diagrams of the vehicles having these rotating parts in the vehicle. Even if you take the side mirror, there's a ball bearing. Side mirror, you can turn the side mirror to different directions manually. You can electric side mirrors also there. You can electrically, you can adjust. But motorcycle, and bicycle, the side mirror you have to adjust manually. In some of the Indian vehicles, so the side mirror you have to adjust manually. Then they use this. Inserting balls that could roll between the contact surface. So here how it is done? You can insert the ball, that is called ball bearing. Inserting a ball that could roll between the contact surface. Yeah, Muhammad, any question? Any doubt? We have nothing, right? Yes, sir.
These bearings are used in fidget spinners, sir.
Sorry? Can you repeat?
These ball bearings are used in fidget spinners, sir. Those ones you rotate.
Yes. Correct. Yes, yeah, correct. That is also an application. Good. Yeah. Right. So therefore, when you are given, okay, so there are two things now. Friction can be advantage. So please write that in your short notebook. Sometimes they can give MCQ. Which are the first incorrect about friction? Sometimes they give first one, friction is advantages. And they can give friction is disadvantage. You can't tell like that. It depends on the situation. Some situations friction is an advantage. Some situations friction is a disadvantage. If friction is advantageous, we increase it. If friction is disadvantageous, we reduce it. That's it. Friction is always useful, also wrong. Friction is always harmful, also wrong. Okay, so it depends on the situation. And you should know methods of reducing friction and method of increasing friction. Right? By method of increasing friction, making the surface rough, or by increasing the weight. Method of reducing friction, there are different methods, by putting lubricants, by making the surface rough, that reducing friction, by making the surface smooth. By making the surface smooth, by putting lubricants, you can reduce the friction. These are ball bearing and roller bearing, right? So not hard. With the applications, you can easily remember instead of memorizing. That's all the lesson. That's the end of this lesson, friction lesson. Did I miss any question here? I think I discussed all these questions, right? Last week we discussed all the essay type questions. MCQs did I discuss? No, right? MCQs we have to. These three MCQs, can you tell me? Only two MCQs. Right. Bhatika, what is the answer for the first MCQ? Or if I left anything else, you can tell me.
Also, I raised my hand to say that the second question also we have to do in these structures.
Really? Okay. Second question we had to do. This one we had to do. No? Okay. I'll do it. No, don't worry. Yeah, okay. We'll come to this one after finishing the 2-3 MCQs. Bhatika. Yeah. Thanks for reminding. Who can tell me the answer for the first MCQ? I think we didn't discuss this, right? Yeah. First MCQ. Who can tell me the answer? Any volunteers? The first MCQ, the answer? Who can tell me the answer for the first MCQ? No one? Can you guess it now? That's all right. Even if it's wrong, can you from your, what do you think? Yes? Yeah, Bhatika? Any Sohana, what is the answer?
B and C only.
B and C only. Okay, Sesat? Bhatika?
C.
C only. Bhatika?
Sir, A and C.
A and C. Okay. A and C, C only. Okay, let's see. Okay, anyone else? Any other volunteers? Prageet, what is the answer for the first MCQ?
B and C only.
B and C only. Okay, different answers. Okay, I'll explain. Yeah, channel.
B and C.
B and C only. Okay. So anyway, anyone can understand. Okay, look at the screen, everyone. Anyone can understand. So little while ago I told you, friction always act harmfully wrong. Friction sometimes is harmful, sometimes so it can be useful or harmful. It depends on the situation. Play in carom, it's harmful, like it's disadvantages. So always act harmfully wrong. So sometimes friction is useful. Without friction, you can't walk on the floor. Without friction, you can't hold an object and pull it. Sometimes friction is friction is disadvantage. So I know that's called like slide in a pole, like what is it called? Listen in our season, single and Tamil, they climb, they apply grease on the log of something, and then they're trying to climb this and get the flag. So that is there. They apply grease and reduce the friction. So friction is act harmfully wrong. Right? We have to put a cross here. Then at object start, it's moving. Frictional force maximum. Yes, that is called what? That is correct. Ne? It is called. Can you please put an arrow? When it begins to move, when it starts moving, what is this maximum frictional force called? Who can tell me what is the name given to this maximum friction when it's about to move or when it just begins to move? Yes, any volunteers? When the object begins to move, it's when it start moving, the frictional reach to the highest value. I gave a graph also. Go through the note. Yeah, Malitma, what is the answer for that? What is this called? Malitma, Prageet, Malitma, yes.
Limiting frictional force.
Very good. Limiting frictional force. That is called limiting frictional force. Please write that, everyone. Limiting frictional force. That's correct, right? Limiting frictional force is the highest. What are the three types of friction? What are the three types of friction? First one, before it moves, I told what friction? Last week, no, static friction. When it is about to move, limiting frictional force. When it is moving, dynamic frictional force. What are the three types of friction? Limiting frictional force. Sorry, first you get static frictional force, then you get limiting frictional force, and then you get dynamic frictional force. Dynamic frictional force. Right. Then B is correct. Okay. You can put right tick for B. Then C, weight affect the friction force is very common. So when the weight, I told you, when the vehicle is stuck in mud, you ask the people to get into the vehicle, then you can get the vehicle out of mud. Friction increase. So when the friction increase, it won't slip. Answer is only B and C. Please raise the hand before I tell this. Those who mark the answer B and C before I explain. How many of you got the answer B and C? Yes, please raise the hand. Right, very good, very good. Okay. Then next one, question number 2. I'll erase the screen. Okay, second MCQ, who can tell me the answer? Second one. Limited frictional force between two objects with rough surfaces in contact depends on. Limiting frictional force depends on. This is 2016 O level. What is the best answer? Now, there can be more than one answer. Then you should go the best answer. Yes, this is all a pass of a question from grade 10 this lesson. I'll ask the answer from Malitma. Yes, Malitma, what is the answer? Muhammad?
Second answer.
Second one.
Second one. Who else marked the second answer for this? Please raise the hand. How many of you marked the second answer for this? Only 2, 3, 4. Right. Only 4 students mark the second answer. Right. Please mark. Please raise the hand. Those who mark the first answer. Did anyone mark the first answer? Please raise the hand. No one. Okay. So I told you today, area does not affect the frictional force. Contact area does not affect the friction. I told you. You put the cover. That's this I can remember. Right. So therefore the first one is wrong. Second one is correct. No, yeah, that's the answer. Normal reaction and the nature of the contact surface. Yes, nature means nature of the contact surface, roughness or the smoothness. Either roughness or the smoothness. That, yes, but here also area. Please highlight because of area they are wrong. First one is wrong, area. This is also wrong because of area. Last one also wrong because area. So please write with the red pen in your short notebook. Area does not affect the frictional force. Please write it with the red pen. Put a stand, write with the red pen. Contact area. Underline area. This is the most frequently the students they mix up this or they put it wrong. Contact area does not affect the frictional force. Very important. Okay, I'll erase the screen now. The answer is second. Then I gave this one for homework, right? I gave this one for homework. Please raise the hand those who have done this. Raise the hand those who have done this. Question number 2 I gave for homework last week. How many of you got this? How many of you have done this? Yes? Right, so this is how it's done. What is the use of the neutral balance? What is the answer for the part 1? Any volunteers? Who can tell me the answer for the part 1? What is the, why do we use a neutral balance here when you are pulling the block of wood? Yes? Who can tell me? Yes? To find the force applied. Right answer. To find the force applied on the object. To find the force applied on the, or else you can write actually friction also you can find using this. So right here you to find the force applied. To find the force applied. Next one, what is the limiting frictional force on the object? Okay, I told you what is the highest value out of this. What is the highest value out of this? Yes? Well, look at the friction here. Friction, I'll highlight this green, no pink. So this is the friction here, the last column, last row friction. Friction increases. You can put a double-headed arrow, you can put a curved bracket from 0 to 9 is what? Please put an arrow and write this is static friction. This is static. And this will be the highest value out of all this what? That is the limiting frictional force. Is the limiting frictional force. Limiting frictional force. And what is this? 10-10 after that it's slow decreases and remains same. What is this 10-10-10? Yes, who can tell me? Any volunteers? What is this after limiting frictional force is decreases and then what? The object is moving because yes, what is called? Malitma? Sohana?
Dynamic frictional force.
Yeah, very good. That is dynamic frictional force. Dynamic frictional force. Then it's easy to get the answer for all this, right? So this is the 0,369 static friction, 10, 10, 10 dynamic friction, that is constant, and then the highest value is that is limiting frictional force. So until you apply this, it's not moving, right? I mean, until you apply 12 Newton, so that is the instance where it just begins to move. You can write here, this is not moving. Yes, static means not moving. You apply force, but it's not moving. But limiting frictional force just begins to move. Begins to move. Begins to move. And the last one, dynamic means what? Dynamic means moving. So always remember that dynamic frictional force is what? Less than the limiting frictional force. Now you can tell the answer for all this. Who can tell me the, now at least tell me the answer for the part 2. Please label the diagram, then it's easy to get the answers. Who can tell me the answer for the part 2 now? Yeah, yes? I think that some students, they never raise their hand. Same set of students raising their hand most of the time when I answer question. Yes, okay, anyway. Bhatika and Sohana, what is the answer? Sisa?
12 Newtons.
Yeah, correct. That is 12 Newton. Very good. That is 12 Newton. 12 Newton. The next one. What is the dynamic frictional force? Who can tell me the dynamic frictional force? The answer.
10, sir.
Very good. Very good. That is 10. Very good. Excellent. Answer is 10. This is how you can get the questions in the exam from this friction lesson. Otherwise, they will never ask you to write an essay about friction or something like that. Okay. Who can tell me the answer for the part 4? What is the resultant force? When it is moving, resultant force means the unbalanced force. Can you underline this? Resultant force means what? Unbalanced external force. Resultant means the unbalanced external force. Unbalanced means what? You have to get the unbalanced force. Unbalanced external force. So there you can see the, okay, if you only can do a diagram here, this one backward, the friction always acting backward. In the diagram, you can mark that in this diagram. Please look at the screen. So this side you had, when it's moving backward, friction become 10 Newton. Forward, the force applied, how many Newton? It's 12, right? It's 12. 12. So what is the balance now? What is the resultant? So 12 minus 10. So the answer will be 2 Newton. Who please raise the hand, those who got the answer 2 Newton for this part 3. Resultant force when it is moving 2 Newton. How did you get 2 Newton? 12, the force applied 12. Look at the diagram. Force applied 12. Look at the table in the diagram. 12 minus 10. Very good, those who had done it. Excellent. 12 Newton minus 10 Newton. That's how you get the answer 2 Newton. Okay. 12 minus 10. Newton minus 10 Newton. Next one, calculate the acceleration. It's a very good question. That's kind of difficult and it's hard. Anyone done this part 5 and 6? Anyone can anyone guess this part? How to find the acceleration? Acceleration, to find the acceleration means what? Now the mass of the object given, okay? The mass of the object given, look at here. The mass of the object given 4 kilogram. Mass of the object 4 kilogram. And the force applied, we know how to find the acceleration. Yes. F equals, what is the equation? F equals ma. The equation should come to your head. Please raise the hand those who got the answer for this. I'll ask the answer from Bhatika. What is the answer you got for this? Part 5. Anyone else? I didn't get the Malik, what is the answer you got?
3 meters per square second.
3 meters per square second. Bhatika, what is the answer you got? Okay, others, anyone else who has done this? Okay, Muhammad, what is the answer? Yes? Part 5. 3. Okay, let's see.
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's see. You can write the equation F equals ma. Part 5, you can write the equation F equals ma. Okay, those if you are not done, please try the method to find the acceleration. Anyway, you have to use either F equals what are the two equations to find acceleration? A equals v minus u over t. If you want, you can, if you don't write this in a short notebook, to find acceleration there are two equations. One is this, the other equation is what? A equals v minus u over t. That is in grade 10 unit 2 physics, unit 2. I don't know whether you know if you have missed that lesson. Third one, anyway, those who joined recently, then paper class will be benefited, because paper class I explain I don't just give the answer like this. I will explain the theory also behind that. I am not giving a theory not, but it's up to you to decide whether to copy down them or not. But anyway, I'll give a theory. I'll explain when I am discussing any question in the paper class. Therefore, unit wise we are doing from unit 1 onwards. We are starting from the beginning the revision class. We are doing Western provincial papers, the third term papers, and the school subordination papers. Like that, we are discussing the other papers also. At the same time, we are discussing the unit wise revision. That's very important. If you have missed any part, you can cover up that. You can fill the gap. Right then. What is the other equation? What is how to find the acceleration? What is the other equation? You can find the acceleration from the graph like this. If you draw a graph, is A equals v minus u over t, like that. So final velocity, time, then you can tell gradient of the graph, acceleration, change in velocity over time taken. That way also you can get it. Time x-axis, the change in velocity y-axis. So these are the three methods of finding the acceleration. F equals ma, A is acceleration. A equals v minus u over t, the second method. Third one, directly from the graph, the gradient of the graph. Now we can, which equation is more suitable for answering the part 5? The answer is first one, because we know the unbalanced force. We found that in the previous part. Part 4 we found the resultant force of the unbalanced force. I'll write here 2 Newton equal, what is the mass? They have given here, mass is given here 4 kilogram at the beginning of the question before the diagram, and acceleration is, that is the unknown one. So acceleration equal 2 divided by 4. What is 2 divided by half? So acceleration will be 0.5 ms minus 2. Am I correct? Please raise the hand those who got the acceleration. Half means 0.5. 2 times 1, 2 times 2. Units ms minus 2. Please raise the hand those who got the acceleration half or 0.5 ms minus 2. How many of you got? None of you. Only Pragit. Anyone else got this answer? Half for 0.5 ms minus 2. Right? Yes, yeah, you got it right, Prem. Very good, right? Good. I think the problem is this. Anyway, the gradually the question going to be harder. The last few parts, even especially physics, okay, chemistry, biology, please. So gradually they start with the basics, and then so acceleration 0.5. Now last part. Now okay, acceleration we got the answer 0.5. F equals ma, write the method. Shall I erase this? Anyone will copy down? Done, right? Okay. Anyone is copy down? Do I need to display again? No need, right? If you want, you can raise that. The last one, a momentum. What is the equation for the momentum? Momentum equal, what is the equation? Grade 10 chapter 2. Momentum equal mv, mass into velocity. Mass is known, what? 4 kilos. Mass 4 kilos. How to find the velocity? Velocity means velocity of the v equals, actually this is the equation. A equals v minus u over t, you can use here. A equals v minus u over t. See, acceleration we got half, 0.5. Velocity, initial velocity is 0 at the beginning, because when before you apply the force, it's at rest, 0. Time taken, you can see it's time they have given here. When it is moving, it takes nearly at the time when you apply unbalanced force, it's when it is moving. Now when it is moving, acceleration, this part acceleration. So we get here 10 to 12. You can get here 4 seconds, no? 10 to 16. 16 minus 10, 16 minus 8. You can take 8 seconds. 8 seconds. Right. So then what is the velocity? At 16 second, the velocity will be at 16 second velocity, because 16 seconds, so then it has been moving from 8 second to 16, then total 8 second it has been moving, no? Until 12th, the limited frictional force is here I have put not moving, here not moving, so it's moving in this part, double headed arrow, moving from 12th second to 16 second. So then it begins to move, and then you can take, look at here how to simplify this. V minus 0 is V. Look at here, V minus 0 is V divided by 8 equals 0.5. Then you take 8 into this side, 0.5 into 8 equal V. What is the final answer? What is the final answer? V of 8. Then you get 0.5 into 8 equal, you get 4, right? 4 ms minus 1. 4 ms minus 1. First you have to find the velocity using this equation. Okay. A equals V minus U, because we found now, because if acceleration go wrong, the previous one, the acceleration 0.5 ms minus 2. Otherwise, if that go wrong, this also will go wrong. I'll write here 0.5 ms minus 2. We got the answer, right? F equals ma. 0.5 ms minus 1. Meters per square second, units important. Now we can substitute the values here. What is the mass? 4 kilogram. Into velocity, we found 4 ms minus 1. Now I will put the units also. Mass 4 kilogram is given at the momentum equation. You have to remember velocity 4 ms minus 1. What is the answer? 16 kg ms minus 1. What is the unit of momentum? Kg ms minus 1. That's how you do it. Please raise the hand before me, those who got this answer 16 ms minus 1, with this understanding, with this method, with the correct method. How many of you got? Yeah, the last two parts I can excuse, because that part is little difficult. Maybe some of you are not, when I was newcomers, you might have not got the physics. Anyway, there's one option available. You can make a small payment and get the previous recording if you want. Those who join recently, you might have missed the physics, the second lesson, chemistry third lesson, like that. So then that is one option. The other option, you can join when I start this end of this year grade 10 new batch, 2024 level batch. Then you can join with that group to combine to revise the grade 10 first term and second term. There are two options like that. Either to make a small payment and get the recording one by one and watch it and complete the note, or else you can join grade 10 new batch from December to revise any lessons that you miss here. Right. Then next one, I'll erase the screen. The rest we discussed now. That's all this paper. So this paper, now this unit 5 is done now. This is done. And one more thing, I want you to try the textbook exercise also, because I don't think this is done. Please raise the hand those who have done this in school also. Government schools I don't think, but private and semi-government international schools you might have done this, right? How many of you have done this? Yes? Only 2, 3. Must be from international school, right? Yeah, good, right. Anyway, you might have forgotten now. Anyway, you have revised from time to time. And the other option, those who have missed the first few lessons, the best thing, you can join the Saturday night paper class. Saturday 7 to 9. This Saturday we are going to start that class, paper class. Then also you can revise from the beginning through questions. There are two methods. This is I told you this paper class I'm going to start on this Saturday 7 to 9. Anyway. Even theory class, I'll check with the feedback from everyone. If you are okay, then I can make that also 7 to 9. Please raise the hand those who are okay with this time the theory also. If I do 7 to 9, now we are doing 6 to 8. Which time is more convenient? How many of you comfortable with 7 to 9 theory also? Theory also the same time, Thursday. Instead of 6 to 8, 7 to 9. Only is 4, no? Okay. Majority of you are okay with the 5. 6 to 8 time is better. Okay. Maybe 6 only out of 15. There are many students absent today. I think there are 10, 12, 10, 15 students absent today. That's right. Right. Okay. Okay. Then we'll keep this time. That's all right. Right. Then anyway, paper class this time is fixed, right? Okay. Then we have to start with new lesson. Before that, I'll show the textbook exercise also. Okay. A second. Unit 5 friction. So please, if you had done this in school, no need. If not, don't need to write the question. Only the answers you have to write separately in your writing book. Only for these questions. Exercise page number 108 in your textbook is marked for homework. Page number 108, only the questions. Even you can briefly explain what is mean by friction. Like you can just theory what is mean by static friction, what is mean by repeating friction, what is mean by dynamic. Circumstance does dynamic friction and dynamic friction when the object is moving. The part for the answer when the objects are moving. The others you can just the theory you can get from the textbook also. What are the two main factors that affect the limiting friction force depends on? This is a good question. Who can tell me? Okay, you do this at home. I just asked orally. You can tell me the answers now. Who can tell me the part 5 the answer? This is page 108. You can, if you want to get now itself, you can write page 108 textbook part 1 exercise. Page 108 exercise. Put the question up and write only the answers. Yes. Any volunteers? Any volunteers? Part 5. Everyone should be able to tell. Today also I told this. Factors awaiting the limited frictional force. We discussed this now. Channel, yes. Channel, what is the answer? Channel, sorry, channel.
The normal reaction and the nature of the contact, sir.
Very good, channel. Answer is nature of the contact surface and normal reaction. Very good. Others also right if you want you can. So next one they ask factor on which frictional force does not depend on. A factor where the frictional force does not depend on. Yes, today only I thought that. We started the lesson today with this. Yes? Who can tell me this? Good. What about the others? Everyone should be able to give the answer for this. What about this Ashini, Kishon, Vayudya, Sashen, Tisavi, Vishwa, Rashmita, Sesat, Pragit, Netuli? What about y'all? Can you tell me the answer for the part 6? Because if everyone raised that, then I know at least you have actively participated in the lesson. Some student like dormant student, they never raise the hand or open the mouth to answer. Okay, I'll ask the answer from same set of students again. Malitma? Yeah, Kishon, what is the answer, Kishon?
Yeah, of the contact surface.
Surface area.
Yeah, correct, very good, yeah. Area of the contact surface, or surface area, very good. Surface area, or you can write area of the contact surface. Area of contact surface. Surface area. Then this one you can write, if you only write here those who, you can write one is nature of surface. Nature of surface. So you can write roughness of surface also accept. And the other one is perpendicular reaction. Actually, perpendicular reaction or normal reaction depends on the weight, the mass of the object. Okay, not hard these questions, right? Yeah. Whether is old syllabus or new syllabus or old paper, the get contemporary friction is friction. Friction we can't change, right? Friction, that concept, it's yeah. Perpendicular reaction. Normal reaction. Then next one you can write, no, this the rest is not hard, you can do it at home, right, alone. Two benefits of friction, I give many benefits. Ability of moving, ability of bringing the vehicle to the rest by applying brakes. You can lift an object without slipping, or you can walk on the floor. You can Ability of walking on the floor, yes, because of friction. Ability of holding an object using the palm or the fingers, that's due to the friction between the palm or the hand and the fingers and the object. Disadvantage of friction, you can write what? I'll give one more example. This I don't know if they have heard about this wildfires, Lav Guinea. Wildfires not man-made. Actually, they are like naturally occurring wildfires during dry season. Whatever sometimes the two branches of the trees, so they are rubbing each other and gets heated up and suddenly can cause a fire when wind blows. And not only that, even that's an advantage, right? The friction is an advantage there. Disadvantage. Wildfires disadvantages due to the friction between the branches of the trees. Dried branches of the trees rubbing each other, causing a fire, or it can ignite and catch fire. So other than that, you can write disadvantages of friction. And this is not given in your textbook, wildfires. But textbook also they have given many examples. I'm not telling the same thing in the textbook because no point. Anyway, you have the textbook. Disadvantage of friction, loss of efficiency of machine. Loss of efficiency of machine because the energy loss. We don't need sound and heat from the engine to move the vehicle. Sound has no connection with the motion of the body or the vehicle. So sound is a disadvantage. If you will get more sound if you don't put lubricants. And the engine is getting heated up. We don't need heat from the engine. So if you can run the engine without heating, that is, we can save energy, right? Heat also a form of energy. Energy is lost in the form of heat. So that means loss of efficiency due to the heat, sound, like that. Loss of efficiency. And then wearing out of machine parts. Like when they are rubbing each other. Disadvantages of friction. Loss of energy as heat. Loss of energy as sound. When the parts of the vehicle, can you see sometime now in some of the parts, when they are worn out, you have to replace it soon. Otherwise, it will not work. It is dangerous to drive vehicles with tires that are worn out rainy days. Explain why. Because rainy days, the slippery, the low friction. What you have tried, part 3, rainy days, low friction between the tires and the road. Rainy days, friction is low. Low friction and there's a risk of slipping the vehicle. Due to rain, low friction between the tires and the road. Therefore, when the brake is applied, it might not work, or the vehicle might slip and face accidents. So the rainy days, even in the highway, they ask to reduce the speed of the vehicle. To reduce the speed of the vehicle on rainy days. You can't drive at the same speed, 100 kilometers per hour. Write down 2 methods used to reduce friction. I told you, apply lubricants. Last one, grease, oil, graphite, lubricants. Only 2 methods. Using graphite. Using lubricants, solid lubricant or liquid lubricant or grease, or making the surface smooth, or applying talc or when playing carom. You can write any method by applying lubricant. So by making the surface smooth like carom board, you can reduce the friction. This is not a hard lesson. This is very easy. You can get full marks. So if you get a question from this, right? So now I explain the textbook exercise. We discuss the chapter and tutor exercise, plus we will be discussing all the past paper questions. All the past paper questions under this. Right. Let's go. Right. Then we have to start with this. Biology, chapter 6. How many of you have got the printout of this? Please raise your hand those who have got the printout of the 6th lesson. We will start with this now. Done. Only 3, no? These days I think the paper question also best thing is what you keep the soft copy, and if you want, you can annotate on the same one, and you can save that in your device. One method, because anyway when you are going for the exam, you cannot carry a single piece of paper. You cannot carry. Whatever stored in your head is important for the exam. So at the end, after your oral exam, that becomes solid waste, until you give that donate to someone. After A-level exam, it becomes solid waste. Textbook also, after every year they have to change the syllabus. Then all textbook we can't use anymore. Then it becomes solid waste generation. So then paper costs, we don't have money now to import these papers from the other countries, right? So these are the issues. So with that, anyway, I'm not forcing you, but anyway, it's up to you. If you can save the this in a separate device, so storage one, then okay, whenever you want, if you can get it, that's all right. Hard copy or the soft copy. Now the sixth lesson, biology. So if I summarize now, first lesson is for biology, no? First lesson biology. Second lesson physics we did. Third lesson we did chemistry, right? Fourth lesson we did physics. Fifth lesson also we did physics. Now sixth lesson is bio. Okay. Now this lesson not hard. Your first term test based on this. Your first term test based on this. So after this lesson, I'll discuss all the Western province now. This Saturday, this Saturday, 7 p.m. Paper class. I'm going to discuss the first term papers, because from the first six lessons you are getting the first term test. I'll discuss last few years provincial first term test papers. Okay, Western province or the other provincial papers. Then you will get better, understanding, or what to study and what to remember. But this is a separate paper class WhatsApp group, not the same group. I am sending the link and everything, the tudes. So already those who have upgraded the name code for May with additional payment 500, I will add them to the paper class WhatsApp group. But anyway, it's okay if you find it difficult. You can make a request and join the group until you upgrade the name code. That's all right. But it is not an issue for joining the class for this week. Later you can upgrade the name code. But anyway, you have to send a request. Otherwise, you will not get the link or anything without joining that paper class WhatsApp group on Saturday. Right? Because it will be until you oral exam. The next day it will become the oral paper class. Right now. Biology, it's about cells and the structure and function of cell. Actually, there are many types of cell. Right? If you take in your body, there are different types of cells. We are going to discuss here the typical cell. Actually, plant cell and animal, basically the plant cell and animal cell, because some organisms are made of one cell. So we call them unicellular. Some organisms are made of entire organism is one cell, not visible to a naked eye. They do all what we are doing. With having one cell, they grow. They take nutrients. They also reproduce. They also have children and die. So all what we are doing, they are doing with one cell. But we have trillions, large amount of cells in our body. We also do the same thing. After your birth, you are eating, sleeping, growing. One day you will get married and have children and die. Right? So the same thing bacteria also doing with minimum requirement. Right? With minimum requirement. Virus also doing the same thing. With single cell. So for them, it's they are doing all this with minimum effort, with minimum requirements. Like one example, we can get heart attack, but bacteria will not get a heart attack. Bacteria no heart, right? We can get lung cancer, like pneumonia or COVID, but they don't get lung cancer because they don't have lungs. One cell, no systems, no organs. Right? In unicellular organisms also, single cell organisms also, they are doing all what we are doing with one cell. So therefore, in that way, sometimes they are more advanced than us, right? Don't you think? I have given many unicellular organisms here. Don't misunderstand microorganisms and unicellular organisms, not the same thing. Actually, most of the unicellular organisms are microorganisms. But under microorganisms, you can get multicellular one also. Micro means not visible to the naked eye. It can be one cell or more than one cell. If they are not visible, micro. Unicellular organisms, most of the teachers, even the students think unicellular organisms equal microorganisms. Not always. So there are instances that become equal. For example, amoeba, unicellular as well as microorganism. Right? Amoeba one cell, single cell organism, like that. I have given you the first example. Okay, come to the first blank here. All the organisms made of cells, and some organisms are made of only one cell highlight. I have given bold letters, but anyway, only one cell. They are known as which organism? Unicellular organism. Right, come to the first blank. Unicellular organism. Come to the first blank. Unicellular organism. In single we call it ecocyclical. Unicellular. Right. Next one, I'll highlight this answer. So these examples you have to remember: amoeba, paramecium, chlamydomonas, bacteria, some fungus. So amoeba, if you don't write like the spell amoeba, paramecium, don't worry, we are discussing the diagrams later. Euglena, protozoa. Actually, all these are protozoa. The first three, you can put a curl where there's a group of organisms called protozoa. All three belong to the same group. This is an algae. This is protozoa I have given here anyway. Algae is photosynthetic. This one is, if you only can put an arrow, these two are photosynthetic, can produce their own food. Chlamydomonas photosynthetic and Euglena. Not all the protozoa, only Euglena is photosynthetic. Chlorophyll present. Chlamydomonas, any algae is photosynthetic. Those things are a bit important. Photosynthetic means they can produce their own food. Autotrophic organisms, autotrophic. Algae in green, algae aquatic. Algae aquatic, they live in water, not in terrestrial. So algae aquatic. Actually, more than 70% of the earth covered by water. More than that means there are many aquatic organisms, right? 70% of water covered by water. The land, that is algae, photosynthetic. That means chlorophyll present. So they are autotrophic. Photosynthetic, chlorophyll present, autotrophic. Bacteria heterotrophic. Based on nutrition, so we can classify them as autotrophic and heterotrophic. Heterotrophic, Vishamaposhi. No photosynthesis. Depends on the food produced by some bacteria, chemoautotrophic. That also you have to be careful. Heterotrophic, or you can write chemoautotrophic. CHMO. Chemical energy of the reaction is used. Not chemical. Chemoautotrophic. Chemoautotrophic, right? Fungus actually heterotrophic. All the fungus heterotrophic. Any fungus is heterotrophic. They cannot produce their own food. Heterotrophic. So out of two, I'll highlight with green, or I'll highlight with blue. Euglena photosynthetic autotrophic, Chlamydomonas photosynthetic autotrophic, and some bacteria actually chemoautotrophic but not photoautotrophic. Photo means light is used to produce food by photosynthesis. Light energy is required. Okay, so therefore unicellular organisms actually they are microorganisms. They are microorganisms. But all the unicellular organisms are micro, but it doesn't mean all the microorganisms are unicellular. Microorganisms are, these are unicellular. They are not visible to a naked eye. When taken as one cell, when taken as one cell, it's not visible. If you take millions of bacterial cell, then they are visible. Right? If you take one water molecule, not visible. Have you all ever seen a water molecule? No, I don't think. Water molecule is even smaller than even a virus. You can't see water molecule even through the light microscope. But you can see water drop. Why? Large number of water molecules combine to form the water droplet. There are millions of water molecules. So when taken in large numbers, yes, visible. But when taken as single, taken as one cell, one component is invisible. That's why we call it microorganism. When taken individually, it's not visible. That's why we call them microorganisms. But if you take large number, yes, it's visible. Even any of this, if you take in large number, yes, visible. Same as water molecule. Water is non-living. These are living. Right. So that is about the first statement. I explained that in detail. Then opposite of this, more than one cell, we call them what? Underline the word more than one cell or highlight. Only with one cell, unicellular. More than one cell, they are known as multicellular organism. So the sum of the multicellular organism, microorganisms, some of them are macroorganisms. It depends on the situation. but they will not ask up to that text in the whole paper. More than one cell highlight, they are known as multicellular organisms. Multicellular. Right. Examples, right? What are the examples? Plants and animals. Plants, macro. Animals, macro. Macro means opposite of micro. So plants and animals are macroorganisms, not micro. Plants highlight, animals. If you can make simple A here, then and some algae and fungi also macro. Not all, most algae and fungi unicellular. Some algae, 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 aquatic, green algae, red algae. Red sea, it's green. Water become green in a tank aquarium because of the growth of green algae. Algae also photosynthetic. They play very important role in the aquatic environment by producing food. The aquatic environment food chain begins with algae or then next one. What is the other group which can be heterotrophic? Actually, not heterotrophic, more than one cell. Some, not all, some algae and some fungus. Some fungus also multicellular, more than one cell. Their body is made of more than one cell. I'll do the more example. If you take one cell amoeba or paramecium, one organism. But you can't take a cell from my neck or leg or arm and tell this is one duplicate of Jagat sir. You can't tell like that. You understand? Multicellular organism, one cell cannot act as behave as an organism. But in unicellular organisms, one cell equal an organism. One cell equal organism. Here trillions of cells are made, we don't call it organism. Depends. Okay, that is about this the cells, how to classify organisms based on the number of cells in their body. One cell unicellular. Examples you have to remember. Okay, I have given the list of example unicellular. Amoeba, paramecium, euglena. Right, those examples you have to remember. Multicellular also you should know. If they ask, they can make a MCQ from this. That's why. Okay, then I think since many of you have not got the hard copy of this, by next week if you can get it, but you can get the recording also if you want and do it leisurely once you get the printout. So I will the rest I have to explain a bit. Right? Therefore, I'll continue that part next week. So, number 3 I'll explain next week because I'll explain this this one a bit. Next week I'll do this. And please try to join the online paper class coming Saturday, the 7th of May at 7 p.m. You have to join the paper class WhatsApp group by making a request, right, with the payment slip or the name code. Right. Okay, then we'll stop for today and we'll continue the rest next week. Good night and God bless you.